The war in Ukraine has created many new security challenges, especially for countries situated on the Black Sea. We sit down and talk to Bulgarian Prime Minister Nikolay Denkov and ask him about his country's recent deal with Romania and Turkey to demine the Black Sea, and also the general security situation and migration. I'm Yusuf Aram, and you're watching One on One. Bulgarian Prime Minister Nikolay Denkov, thank you for joining me on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference.
My pleasure.
I want to begin with the most recent. There's been a deal between Bulgaria, Turkey, and Romania to demine the Black Sea. Can you give us more details about that and what that means for the security of the coastal line of the Black Sea?
You can consider this action as a part of the more general efforts to unite our defense forces, our defense efforts with Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania on the eastern flank of NATO. And there are also practical consequences. We have to secure the safety of our ships and the corridor. So on one side, this is a practical exercise. On the other side, it is a more general activity that we can prove and we should prove to do together and to show that we are reliable allies at the eastern flank of NATO.
How's the interoperability between the three countries?
So there is an agreement that was signed by the three countries, and this now gives the freedom of the operational officers to define how the patrols will go. So the framework is clear. Now this is a practical exercise that should be put on not on the ground, but in the sea.
Now, it's been 2 years since the war in Ukraine has erupted, and one of the major challenges has been Black Sea security. Overall, apart from the demining, what other challenges has Bulgaria experienced regarding Black Sea security?
I think the most important task was to secure the food corridor in the Black Sea, because for a while it looked like a blocked route for the export of the Ukrainian grain mostly, and it created a lot of problems. It created problems for the market in Europe, which was flooded to some extent with the grain for a while, but also it created a lot of problems for the countries that need this grain in Africa and some other countries. So it was very important to keep it open, and this was eventually positive result. So I heard Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, just saying that this was very important for them to keep this open. On the other hand, we had some Bulgarian economic zone was closed for a while by some warning by the Russian ships, which created a lot of anxiety, I could say, at a certain point, because it was going forever. But now it is already open.
Has that had a big impact on Bulgarian businessmen in maritime shipping, for example, raising insurance and making the price of Bulgarian goods more expensive? So has that been a big concern?
Not this aspect. The biggest concern was with the grain import from Ukraine, because if you close this route, then the only market is the European market, and the Ukrainian grain is competing with the Bulgarian one. So this was the biggest problem. So keeping the route open was very important to be sure there will be no specific problems for the farmer sector in Bulgaria. And I have the data for the import from Ukraine. It is quite minimal in the last months, exactly because there are other opportunities for export from Ukraine.
What are your thoughts on the grain corridor deal? This is the deal that the United Nations and Turkey brokered between Russia and Ukraine. Should it be revived? There's been some attempts by the Turks to try to revive it. They've been talking with the UN. Is this a positive deal for Bulgaria?
I think it's extremely positive for every country in the region. And I know Turkey played a very active role in this, so we appreciate this. And I think that if you can continue to be the active side to support this deal, it will be very, very positive for all of us. So from this viewpoint, we'll do whatever possible to support these efforts and to keep the corridor open.
We're 2 years into the war. How do you think the EU or the international community should proceed forward their engagement towards the war, whether it's diplomacy, military aid,
How do you see the way forward?
I think we have to continue even to accelerate our efforts to support Ukraine. As you know, Bulgaria was also very active especially in the first months, but even now we support quite a lot Ukraine with ammunitions and with other military assistance. So this is very important because the peace should not be only a peace, it should be sustainable peace, it should be fair peace, because otherwise it will not last for long. So from this viewpoint, we are completely aware about the danger that if Ukraine is not supported enough, then the hunger for new adventures coming from Russia could become even bigger. And from this viewpoint, the Bulgarian government was very persistent in supporting assistance to Ukraine, both military and humanitarian. We have quite a number of refugees in Bulgaria, and we have to continue these efforts, and especially in the next several months, this assistance will be critical. This is one of the main topics here at the Munich conference. So we are pretty much convinced that we have to not only to continue, but also to accelerate this support.
Now, energy's been a big issue too, because Europe really depends on Russian gas, and with the Russian gas supply now really limited flowing into Europe, I see that your government has taken steps to revive a hydropower project with Romania, the Danube project. I've also seen that you've been exploring opportunities to cooperate on nuclear power with the United States and France. So is this Bulgaria trying to diversify its portfolio and prepare for a future with zero Russian gas? And also, how is this impacting Europe as well, not just your country?
So these are two different aspects that combine in some way together. So one of them is that, yes, we were 100% dependent on the Russian energy sources just 2 years ago. So gas, oil, nuclear fuel, almost everything. And now what we did, part of it was forcibly. Actually, the Russia stopped the gas to Bulgaria 2 years ago, so we had to change very rapidly our resources of gas. So we got a support from several directions. Turkey was one of them, but also the United States was critical to supply gas at that time. So it was very important to be sure that we can continue without relying on the Russian gas. But this is also combined with the energy transition. So we need to have different sources of energy, and also we need sustainable sources that do not depend, let's say, on the sunlight or the wind. So we have quite a serious strategy how to combine together different type of energy sources, how to store them properly, so that we can make this transition. So the hydropower stations are more coming in the second part, to have reliable, stable, sustainable source of energy that can be used in the energy mix, not only of Bulgaria, but also of the region around us.
You mentioned irregular migration earlier. Now, when we look at the past 10 years, wars in Libya, Sudan, Iraq, Syria, Gaza, Ukraine, that's creating a lot of migration. And one of the countries that are on the front lines of Europe is Bulgaria. So I assume that your country has felt that wave of migration coming in. How is Bulgaria dealing with it, and how is the EU dealing with migration?
Yeah, Bulgaria really had this sensitive approach to the migration, because the people are sensitive about this. And that's why from the very first waves of migration, we built this fence between our border with Turkey. And it turned out that this is not enough. It is much more important to have, along with these technical fences, devices, our cooperation with your border patrols, with the European network of Europol, Frontex, and so on and so forth. So in the last year especially, there was a significant progress in this part. And again, I want to emphasize a significant part of it is coming due to the excellent cooperation that we have with your authorities, with your border control on the other side of the border. And now Bulgaria is looking much better than some other border countries in Europe. So I know the statistics that in the last months we have a quite significant reduction of the crossing of the borders, of the number of the illegal migrants that we capture in the country. This is already reflected in the statistics of Frontex. So we are looking better than before. But it is very important to continue to work together with you. And we had this conversation with your foreign minister that visited Sofia just a few weeks ago, and we had a very, very fruitful meeting with him, and he's very knowledgeable in this area as well. And yes, it's looking much better than a year ago, but we have to continue to work hard to make it even further.
So it seems like Bulgaria is much better positioned than countries like, let's say, Italy or Greece regarding the migration situation.
Today, in these days, yes, it was not like that several years ago, but now we feel comfortable that the illegal migration is under control. We continue to put other technical devices like the X-ray machines on the border, Capitan Andreevu with Turkey, and also in some other border control units. So yes, there is a steady progress. We are in the good side of this problem, but this will be a continuing effort that we have to do together, I'm sure, in this.
Your country is going to be entering the Schengen zone soon. What does that mean for Bulgaria, Bulgarian tourism, business, investment?
So, of course, for the tourist sector, it is quite significant achievement because most of the tourists come via airplanes. So, from this viewpoint, this is a benefit for the tourist sector, for the economy. On the other side, the land border control is still there, as you know. So there will be a serious negotiations how to lift the land border control, which is important also for the Turkish companies that transport goods to the countries in the Central Eastern Europe. So I do hope that there will be support from the other countries to convince Austria that actually nobody has any benefit of keeping the land border control between Bulgaria and Romania, Romania and Hungary. And it creates a problem for the business. It creates a problem also for the tourists that are coming by land, and some of them are coming to Turkey, to Greece as well. So I think there are very serious logical arguments why we should remove also the land border control.
Bulgarian Prime Minister Nikolay Denkov, thank you for joining us on One on One.
Thank you.